The Things, art and story by Kinderwater. Growing up, our basement was a catastrophe of cluttered things. Boxes of cards from birthdays I can't remember, a few dozen board games patched with yellow tape, the tote of fancy china that Nonna got from Italy, old toys that I had outgrown, but Mom said were good for other kids, the vacuum my parents got as a wedding gift, boxes of old Christmas figurines. These piles of things made our unfinished basement feel like city blocks. Unfaltering, making stacks of tax receipts and boxes feel like a labyrinth of skyscrapers. Amongst these things, a step over the blue chest and to the right of the straw basket, I had my spot. It was a cozy space to play while Mom was busy, a place of refuge when Dad was angry, a place of unlimited creative possibility in a land full of undiscovered treasures with their own stories. My spot was a fortress among the scarier basement things. There were taxidermy deer heads, a couple of portraits that had followy eyes. There was a tornado door, and the basement made you feel like looking over your shoulder occasionally. All the junk would play tricks on your eyes, making you stare until you could confirm it wasn't something else. The thing I hated most was the pull light. It would flicker, and when it did that, you had about 9 flickers until the bulb fritzed out, enough time to get to the stairs if you rushed. Dad said one day that a bulb would blow, and we'd have to get the unit replaced. He didn't like the idea of spending money on bulbs and replacements, but I didn't like the idea of being stuck in the basement in the dark. One day while Mom was at work, I was in my spot and the light started to flicker. I remember being annoyed at having to abandon my drawings. I got up and started to count. 1. I decided to take what I was working on with me, so I started to pile it. 2. On all fours I crawled through the fort entrance, markers and papers firm under the grip of my thumbs. 3. I stood and dusted my knees, and patunk! The basement went black. The bulb had shattered. Blinking, my eyes couldn't tell the difference between my eyelids in the dark of the basement. Fear tightened my throat. My eyes began to tear. I dropped my drawings and clapped my hands over my eyes, the grit from the concrete floor transferring to my face. What do I do? I need to use my own map. I needed to find the straw basket. With my eyes clamped shut, I grazed cardboard boxes until I finally felt the smooth grooves of straw. The basket! My breathing was painfully ragged, but I heightened the speed of my crawl. The blue chest, I collided with an object, resulting in a clunk. I felt a glossy and flat surface that transitioned to smooth, cold shapes. The blue chest! I stepped over it, and knew from there I was close to the stairs. Close enough I didn't need to crawl. I heard a shuffle or two, things moving around from me bumping stuff I thought. Abandoning my sense of touch and speeding through an area I'd walked millions of times before. That's when I felt it. I ran into something. It was rigid but soft and fell back slightly with our collision. I stood in front of this thing, my breath hitched in my chest. I stared forward, waiting for my eyes to articulate it. Maybe more stuff got moved down here. The darkness blocked my vision. The thing was too soft to be boxes, too sturdy for a stack of papers. As I exhaled harshly, I was met with a throat sound. Thin, barely there, and not from me. I'd run into a person. Without telling it how or why, my body had turned left and was running faster than I ever had, crunching over shards of the broken bulb. I slammed the basement door behind me after taking the stairs 3 steps at a time. Fleeing the house, I ran to my mother's work, silent tears carving trails into my dirt-stained cheeks. When we returned later, my hysterical sobs were met with denial from my parents. We found nobody, just our things. My dad changed the bulb and we added more lights, but I never went into that basement by myself again. Dozens of years later, after Mom had died, I helped Dad clear all that stuff out. We found that my spot wasn't the only spot in that basement. We discovered a space with a soiled sleeping bag, a few books, and wrappers of food familiar from our pantry growing up. Dad asked if that spot was mine. It wasn't. It had been undisturbed for years. Whatever it was must have fled when I ran for Mom. Whatever it was must have gotten in through the tornado door. Whatever it was had chances to harm me but didn't. Whatever it was stayed and watched. For years, without me knowing, there had been a man among our things.